With all of the tasks we rely on our mouth and supporting oral cavity to carry out, it's easy to forget that it happens to be one of the few direct entry points into our body. And I'm not talking about the entry point into the surprisingly secure realm of the stomach and intestines, which are fully equipped with barriers and border patrol immune agents. We're talking about direct to the bloodstream access, right through the teeth. Well, actually, around them. Nonetheless, a growing problem, which, surprisingly to me, strategic meal timing has some interesting effects on. Let's take a look. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today we are heading back within the confines of our oral cavity, talking about why dentists and dental hygienists everywhere deserve some props. Not only because they help you look really ridiculously good looking, but because the oral health longevity connection is realer than real. And once again, just like many other aspects of our pretty cool meat suit, its prosperity links back to our everyday habits, routines, and rituals. And we're gonna talk about why. Oh, and also how strategic meal timing or intermittent fasting may be a surprising tool to combat and mitigate the nefarious effects of oral dysfunction. That sounded a little dirty, didn't it? Well, rightfully so, because that antagonist of hygiene happens to be the origin story of longevity deteriorating conditions in the mouth. One of the most prevalent being a disease of the gums clinically known as periodontal disease. And here's how it goes down. As we eat, food interacts with the microbes in our mouth and forms plaque, which is a sticky film of food particles, saliva, and bacteria that accumulate on the teeth. And if this sticky film of plaque is left unattended, it can build up, irritate the gums, and drive them to become inflamed and infected, eventually causing the gums to recede and the teeth to become a tad bit loose. Now, you may be thinking, oh no, this may cause me to lose a tooth. And you're right, but the implications of that go much deeper and actually open up the doors for systemic health issues to arise. One of which being the higher prevalence of the #1 killer on the planet, heart disease. Because when the gums recede and gaps open up right beside the teeth, a new entry point is created for all non-self organisms, particles, compounds, you name it, to gain access into the hottest, and I mean hottest, Zoolander VIP level biological club in town, club circulation. And several studies have begun to document the nefarious side effects of this happening. A few suggesting that an increase in bacteria, of which we have trillions living in our mouth right here, right now, along with other non-self particles from the oral cavity entering the bloodstream through these gaps around the gums, may very well induce an inflammatory response and increase the risk of heart damage and arterial plaquing. Not cool, I know. But also, we have to keep in mind, it is very likely if a individual's lifestyle is promoting periodontal disease, it's probably already increasing one's risk for cardiovascular disease by other means too, making the added oral dysfunction a double whammy. Whammy! In a bad way, not a champ from Anchorman fun way. Opposite. There's also been research displaying that this dysfunction in the mouth increases both blood pressure and the inflammation associated with autoimmune disease, two chronic conditions that are plaguing a growing amount of intelligent walking apes on this beautiful floating rock, which once again trace back to not only the dysbiosis of bacteria in the mouth or the prevalence of suboptimal health deteriorating communities, but the dysfunction of the underlying gums, which, as we just talked about, opens up the door for all of these bacterial byproducts to hop right on in, club circulation. So if you have your health and vitality in mind, it sure does seem that it'd behoove you to keep that oral cavity happy and healthy. And ironically, these same bacteria that can initiate all this chaos actually do some really beneficial things when they're not sneaking into other areas of the body, including protecting your teeth and gums from disease, regulating your immune system, preventing infection, producing vitamins and other nutrients, including vitamin K and folate, while even influencing mood and cognition. One way being through their secretion of short-chain fatty acids, which have been shown to get up on in our cranial cabinet and have an anti-inflammatory effect. Not bad for a bunch of oral derelicts, right? Or mouth buddies, depending on the day. So, what type of habits keep the mouth and its ecosystem vibing the way it should? Well, as you can imagine, real whole food eating is a big one. And the overlooked reason why is its role in regulating the pH or acidity of our saliva. Because this right here is one of the main factors which modulates and balances which bacteria survive and which bacteria thrive. And guess what a diet high in ultra-processed foods and added sugars does? The standard Western diet, might I add. Not only does it make dentists everywhere go like, it creates an environment for suboptimal communities of bacteria to prosper. Bacteria that produce acids that have a higher likelihood to damage the teeth and gums. So I guess we'll add that to Real Whole Foods' resume. And I guess ultra-processed foods resume too. We also can't overlook the importance of having a consistent brushing and flossing schedule, especially after your last meal of the day. This will reduce plaque buildup, which is at the foundation of most oral health conditions, preventing further downstream damage, while also not scaring your crush away from all those smells coming from your mouth. Avoiding known detractors like smoking, vaping, and alcohol is another key to keep in mind as well. All that being said, the most surprising habit of them all may very well be the impact of strategic meal timing. And I gotta say, I wasn't expecting this one, which made this new data we're gonna talk about a pleasant surprise. This pilot study was part of a larger non-randomized controlled trial where 14 overweight obese participants entered a 6-month intermittent fasting protocol to see how the intervention impacted their metabolic health and their ongoing periodontal condition. Yeah, these participants were battling a little bit of a double whammy themselves. Researchers also took a keen look at that oh-so-important oral microbiome to see if and how it shifted. So what type of fasting protocol were we talking here? TRE, ADF, 16-8, OMAD, 2MAD? What were participants dabbling with? Surprisingly, none of these. Participants were on the good old 5 and 2 weekly fasting strategy, sometimes called the FAST diet. A protocol which comprises of eating regularly for 5 days of the week and eating a very limited 500 or so calories on 2 non-consecutive days. Another important note here was that participants were coached on healthy eating, being educated on the benefits of a Mediterranean-like diet and being provided several recipes. So, what happened? Well, a few things. First, many of the normal metabolic benefits of strategic meal timing popped their head up once again, including decreased inflammation, as C-reactive protein was noticeably reduced, improved blood sugar control measured by several markers including hemoglobin H1C, favorable changes in cholesterol, and beneficial movements in BMI and weight. Okay, but what happened with the periodontal problema? When the dental professionals analyzed the participants after the fasting, they observed first that there was no significant changes in the visible plaque index and the oral microbiome composition. Damn, I wanted oral microbiome changes, but whatever. Okay, let's go back. However, when some of the common measurements for periodontal disease were looked at, there was indeed a significant reduction in periodontal inflammation with less bleeding on probing and probing pocket depth, showing significant improvements in both, especially in high responders, which was about half the group. Pretty damn cool. That being said, this was a small pilot study, and it most certainly does not prove that this intervention cured the problematic condition, nor was it designed to do so. But this is still, nonetheless, a pretty interesting piece of information, and still pretty surprising. Now, can we 100% confirm that the noted benefits observed are due in full to the fasting protocol and have nothing to do with the change in eating habits? No, we can't. But what we do know, especially after a review like this one, is the fact that strategic meal timing protocols have this uncanny ability to modulate inflammation levels in a beneficial direction, especially when the dysfunction is driven by controllable lifestyle variables, like an ultra-processed 24/7 all-waking day diet, chronic stress, deprived sleep, and an overabundance of everyday toxins. And when your cellular and metabolic self is not being constantly bombarded with a siege of immune overactivity, it's instead put in a position to do its thing, aka operate efficiently, and thus allowing you to feel the byproducts of that, how you are capable of feeling good, refreshed, restored, rejuvenated every single damn day. Boosting oral health is just another potential benefit that strategic meal timing can add to its already impressive resume, reinforcing its spot as a great tool in the longevity toolbox. Now, although there are many different strategies that can be deployed, almost all of which we have covered in some shape, form, or fashion on the 70+ videos across the Fasting 101 playlist, a great baseline to start and aim for is deploying a daily time-restricted eating strategy with a feeding window of 10 hours or less positioned during the daylight hours, with a 14+ hour fasting window overnight. But as you know, there are many different strategies to mix and match, and the best one is one that you can fit within your unique lifestyle variables and consistently do, remembering that this nor any other single intervention is a longevity silver bullet. Because as we know, it takes a holistic strategy to tackle this vitality over time equation. Just don't forget about your pearly whites when you're working yours out. Because as we saw today, they do a lot more than make you really, really, really ridiculously good looking.